Hey YouTube, how's it going? This is Soak TV, that's Son of a King TV. This is psychology breakdown right now. So a lot of you may be following the Depp Heard trial, and I haven't put out any videos on it, but I've been watching closely and I've been developing my psychology. So the psychology breakdown is gonna be on Amber Heard's side, right? We're gonna let this trial play out. We're gonna let all the facts come out, and the jury is gonna make a decision. But until then, we are the digital jury, and we're also gathering the facts, and we're gonna have an opinion of ourselves. But if you have been following it, or if you haven't, I just want to do a quick, kind of recap, bring you up to speed, break down my psychology. My psychology is up to date based off of, um, what happened today in court, which is Monday the 16th. They were off for a week. They resumed today, and I got my breakdown. But let's do a recap. Let's fill everyone else up. So, Johnny Depp, if you haven't heard, is suing um, his ex Amber Heard because when they initially broke up, I believe around 2016, um, she came out. Well, when she divorced him, she came out with a restraining order, and it had people kind of like, oh, what's going on? Like why the restraining order? Like what's going on over there? And 2 years later, she wrote like this article talking about how she was abused, physically and sexually, and all that stuff, which we don't condone at all. Uh, so Johnny Ball's basically been blacklisted. This is the top of cancel culture of the Me Too movement. So he got the full blunt force of that. Lost some pretty good movies, hasn't been able to really get on his feet how he has been. So this was something that's been long in like people have been waiting for it because I guess he's always maintained his innocence. So this trial came out. He basically sued her for defamation in that article there. Um, so anyway, so as the person who is suing someone, you basically control the first couple, days or weeks or whatever of court. You can call your witnesses, you can call your experts, you can do all this. Um, and so that's more or less what we've seen. We've seen, Johnny get on the stand. We've seen him kind of talk about, different things. Part of my breakdown is also like, if you don't know, a lot of this trial is based off of recordings and like videos and stuff that they took of each other, whether they knew it or not. It seemed kind of weird to me. Like this whole trial basically can happen because all this hours of video footage of each other. Yet there's not one instance, like after a fight or something like that. Like there's always recording during an argument fight, like a verbal fight, but there's no evidence really of, you know, or no video, I should say, of like a physical like fight. Hey, like, hey, dude, you just punched me in my face, kind of stuff. I thought that was interesting, but not gonna get too much into that. But the psychology breakdown is this. Um, I should say that they had a psychologist who basically broke down, kind of assessed Amber Heard, and kind of used whatever they use in that profession to kind of diagnose her with split personality disorder or something of the sort. Um, and so she dove into that psychology, and then also, like I said, Johnny Depp was the plaintiff, Amber Heard is the defendant. So after Johnny Depp gets to kind of make his case, it then rolls over to the defendant to now, you know, combat what they said basically and call their own witnesses and stuff. First witness they called was another psychologist who also assessed and did all that stuff with Amber Heard and came up with a different conclusion than Johnny Depp's. So that was kind of weird, but I'm gonna assess my psychology, what I feel like, my breakdown, what I'm noticing from everything. So off the bat, um, you know, they tried off the bat. She's very well prepped. Amber Heard is very well prepped. Her lawyers are very good. Her PR team is very good because there's, I feel like she has a microphone in her ear that tells her, you know, when the camera's coming to her, how to make her face look. She's an actress. So there's certain things as a video is being played that shows an argument, as Johnny Depp is being grilled by her lawyers about some tragic experience, she'll, do the sad face, or she'll do the lack of empathy face. She'll even, tear up a little bit, or she'll look away, and she'll do all this stuff. And again, not to make light of any person's, claims, or like not to make light of anything that she may have gone through or may not have gone through. But as an internet juror, I have to gather all the facts. Everything matters. Like your appearance matters, your facial expressions, all that speaks to the jury. And it's speaking to me right now. And it's letting me know there's a whole lot of baloney going on with this lady. It just does. I feel it in my soul. I feel like she's being coached. I feel like someone's telling her like what faces to make. And she's an actress, so she knows how to do it. I honestly feel like that. But that's before she got on the stand. So when she first got on the stand, which was they had a week break. So like, 2 weeks ago or whatever, she first got on the stand after they called the psychiatrist. Like I said, Johnny Depp went first, laid out his case, rested his case. Amber Heard defended. Now she get to pick up and defend herself. And so I noticed that when she first got on, you know, a lot of her, explaining and stuff kind of like fulfilled what Johnny Depp's psychiatrist said. Like she said, a person like her, they talk with all these words, and they're magical, and they're so full of emotion. And at the end of their words, you don't know what they said because they're just going around in a circle. She was doing a lot of that. She was doing a lot of going around in a circle, adding so much detail. She was very emotional. She was painting a picture of how she was in love and how she went to Hollywood to go chase her dreams. And this man, this older man, just pounced on her. And, this superstar of a man pounced on her in this Hollywood, world. And that's kind of how she was depicting it. She was a victim. She was sought out by this older guy, and he just had, bad intentions for her. He was bad from the start, but she was so in love, she didn't see it. So a lot of her language was all flowery and lovey and emotional, and she was crying, but it didn't really hit. It didn't tug no strings in nobody's heart because she's an actress. And so I didn't, for me, I didn't feel nothing from it. The stories, that she was saying, from her memories, I feel for that. I don't condone any woman getting, physical with or getting physical on by any man or anything like that. But hearing like her explain it and the emotion, there was a disconnect. There was a disconnect with her words and what she had on her face. It was a very big disconnect for me as an internet juror. So the next day happened. So that was day one. Day two, it was much of the same. And everyone was calling her out. Everyone was saying, she really doesn't seem to be this person who was traumatized. And also real victims were coming out and saying, this is not how you feel after you've had a traumatic experience. It's not typical to feel that way. Like you're over it. You're how many years removed from the situation. It's more of an anger at that point, or it's more of a kind of, stone cold approach to it. And so I said in my head, I said, her coaches are really going to have to work with her over that week-long break they had, because she's portraying the wrong emotions to describe something this traumatic. But as you see her now, today, the 16th, she was more cold. She was more calculated. She was more trained. She was more up to speed because she wasn't emotional like she was in the past. I don't even think she cried this all day. I don't think she cried all day. I think she more so was on some, like, very matter of factish, very much, this is my story, I'm gonna tell it. So she started owning her story a little bit more. She fell into her character a little bit more. Um, and so for me, that, to the untrained eye, that could seem as if, now she's kind of getting more comfortable with being up there. But first she was kind of, floored, all the crowd, all the people, the jurors, she felt real nervous. But now she's getting a little bit more comfortable. But, my psychology eyes can see the training. I can see the PR team watching the YouTube. I can see the PR team looking at the blogs and the headlines, and I can see them seeing the dollars fly away from her account. And I could tell that they told her, like, hey, you have to not be as crying, like that's not gonna win people over like we thought. You may just have to be cold with it. You may have to be someone who's has pain, someone who's bitter. You may have to come off bitter because a lot of people can associate with bitter. A lot of people understand that. A lot of people knows what it's like to have someone who you disdain, an ex. A lot of people know what it's like to have a toxic ex. So we have to come at it from that approach. Otherwise, we're going to lose. So I definitely see the training that she received over that week when the court was off. You could tell. So I definitely give her I give her a B for today. I give her a B. At least for the first part, when her and her lawyer, when her lawyer was examining her. On cross exam though, that's a different story. I'm not gonna get into that too much. The main details are about, the psychology, what I see. Um, I think she's been trained very well, and I think for the people who were writing it off, like Johnny was gonna get the W easy, especially after the first couple weeks, I think you have to slow down and, consider the fact that, she did not come to play. She has 50. She has a man, she's countersuing him. I forgot to mention that. She has 100 million. She has 100 million reasons to give the best performance of her life. Like, that would bury her. Johnny knows it. And just on that psychology, someone who's dated her, someone who's been around her, he knows how much money she got. 50 million. He knows she don't got 50 million. He knows that. So that's an intimidation move right there. That's a move that says, hey, you just saw me win this other court case in the UK. I'm coming at you now. Are you gonna, you better back down and, let's settle this. You better recant. Cause I'm coming at you, and I got a team of lawyers. I got big bread. So I'm coming at you. And she's smart. She has a good team around her because her team say, you know what? He does have that big bread, but I know what's really going on. I know what his money really looking like. I know he only got nothing but, if he has 100 M's, he's probably has 105 M's, or maybe 150 at the most. He's not, crazy with it right now because he's hasn't been getting movies. So I'm gonna countersue him for 100. So it's not you sue me for 50, you lose, I sue you for 50. I'm suing you for 100 for everything. So that's like a check move. That's like a play with it if you want to kind of move. That's like a are you sure about that kind of move. So and he proceeded. But he seemed like that type to me anyway who's just gonna throw money, make it do whatever. Um the fans are on his side. Um the only other thing is to get Hollywood on his side. But yeah, it just seemed like it is a toxic situation just because, the lawyer games and stuff like that. But you I definitely see the psychology happening from even that moment of just the lawsuit, filing it. There was a lot of psychology that went into play in that regards. So stay tuned, man. It's a lot of breakdowns gonna come, a lot of psychology. We're not just doing, the depth trial, we're doing some other stuff as well. So stay tuned. Um, don't even hit the subscribe button yet. I want to earn it. Don't just, stay tuned. Just keep following up. If you want to have to go to the search bar and search up Soak TV every time, I don't mind. I appreciate that. Um, but we're gonna earn that subscription. Just stay tuned. More psychology breakdowns, more reactions, more breakdowns, period. And yeah, man, it's So TV, man. Stay blessed.